Hey everybody. Hey Facebook. How is everybody? Hey everybody. When y'all come on, type your name down below, let me know you're here. Hey, what's up, Bezo? You guys come on. Thanks for the love and the support. You guys come on, comment below, let me know you let me know that you're here with me. Let me know that you're here because I can't see who's on. And tonight we're going to talk about anger that pierces the soul. Hey, Michelle. And tonight we're going to talk about anger that pierces the soul. Hi, Jennifer. Thank you for joining. Guys, like, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm honestly thinking about. I normally live stream on Facebook and Instagram every Thursday. Hey y'all, thanks for joining. I normally live stream on Facebook and Instagram every Thursday night, but my iPad went dead. So I know I have people over on Instagram waiting for me, but I'm coming and popping through on Facebook first. But yeah, I want to go ahead. We're going to go ahead and get started because I did come on a little late. That's what happens when you have kids and stuff. But I do apologize. Thank you all for joining me here for Candid Conversations tonight. This is the broadcast where we get real, we get raw, and we get honest with ourselves about ourselves so that we can do the inner and the outer work to transform our lives and fulfill our goals. So to turn our dreams into reality. Thank you all for joining me here. I do not take it for granted. I appreciate every one of you and your love and support. I'm your host, Jasmine Womack, and I'm also known as author Jasmine Womack on social media, and I am the self-love empowerment specialist. I educate and empower single and divorced women how to identify self-sabotaging habits, release emotional baggage, gain unstoppable confidence, and fulfill your goals so that you can turn your dreams into reality. I'm on Periscope every day around 2 p.m. and I go live for Candid Conversations on Facebook and Instagram every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so after I leave Facebook, I'm going to hop over to Instagram and Periscope. So Candid Conversations is starting now, and tonight we're going to talk about anger that pierces the soul. So yesterday I put a post up about how Beyonce says in one of her songs, the best revenge is your paper. I don't know if you guys saw that post. It was like a fill in the blank post. And I asked the ladies, how do you get revenge and clap back in the classiest way after you've been heartbroken, after you have been hurt? Now, I know that the post itself was like about romantic relationships, but like, let's get to the root of it. There are so many of us like carrying around all these feelings of hurt, all these feelings of baggage, all these feelings of betrayal, abandonment, rejection, okay? And these feelings can stem from childhood, from our parents. You understand? Like, for example, my biological father was like never in my life, right? And I dealt with feelings of abandonment and rejection from him for a very long time. And a lot of it stemmed back to like when I was like in 5th grade, you understand? And this was like the first time we were supposed to go out. He promised me he was going to come pick me up. He was going to bring me up to Atlanta. I stayed in Columbus at that time. And we were going to go to Six Flags, and he was going to introduce me to my cousins, my other aunts, my uncles. And I was really excited because like this was my dad, you know. I had never really been around him. I acted just like him, you know, and I was excited about getting to know more about him, meeting my family, and of course going to Six Flags. And so I was like in the 4th or 5th grade. And I'll never forget, my mom did my hair really cute. I put on like my favorite outfit. And my dad was supposed to be there at like 2 o'clock, right? 2 o'clock in the afternoon to pick me up. So at like 12 or 1 o'clock, I was ready. 1:30, I started sitting down on the couch, watching cartoons, looking at the clock. Daddy's going to be here anytime soon. 1:45 came. And I'm like anticipating, like, yeah, my dad, he's going to be here soon. He's going to be here soon. I can't wait for him to come. 1 o'clock came. Okay, it's 1 o'clock. He's not here yet. He might be running a little late. 1:15 came. 1:30 came. And I'm like, Mom, is Dad coming? Like, is my dad, is he coming? And she's like, he should be coming. He said he was coming. I'm sure he's going to come. 2 o'clock came. I'm still sitting there right in that same spot. 3 o'clock came. Now, by this time, I was hurt. I was sad. I was angry. I'm still sitting there in that same spot, waiting for my dad, my biological father, who said that he was going to be there at 2 o'clock to get me. 3 o'clock came, 4 o'clock came, 5 o'clock came. After a while, it was 7 o'clock p.m. I had not gotten up to use the restroom. I had not gotten up to get anything to eat. I was literally sitting in that same spot that I had been sitting at since like 1 o'clock that day. And by the time 7 o'clock hit, I realized he wasn't coming. And there I was. I had been sitting there all day waiting for my dad, who said he was going to come pick me up, take me to Six Flags, take me to meet my family. And at 11 years old, I had been stood up by my dad. And I remember I was hurt and I was angry. And I went in my room and I slammed the door and I put my face in my pillow and I just cried. I cried and cried and cried until I couldn't cry anymore. And then I went to sleep. Hey, Kim. And I carried those feelings because that was the first time, but that was not going to be the last time that he did that. He did that several times after that. You understand? Now, when I'm 33, we, are on good terms. But like when I was like in 10, 11 years old, that was heartbreaking. That was devastating. And then for it to happen repeatedly. So those feelings like rooted in me, like if my own dad doesn't want me, if my own dad doesn't love me, why would anybody else? That's what I thought at 10 and 11 years old. You understand? And I took those feelings of abandonment and rejection into my adulthood and into relationships. You understand? And, that was my experience with my father. Some people have, issues of rejection, abandonment, and all this stuff with their mothers. I was talking to a friend of mine a couple of weeks ago, and she was just telling me how when she grew up, her mother, they didn't have anything. They grew up in Vine City down there in downtown Atlanta. And growing up, her mom would always tell her, you ain't going to be nothing, you ain't going to do nothing, you ain't going to have nothing. I didn't have it, you not going to either. And my friend, she had a child when she was a teenager and had to move back home. Her mom was constant with the verbal abuse. You ain't going to be nothing, you ain't going to do nothing, you ain't going to have nothing, you dumb B, X, Y, and Z. And I've seen mothers talk to their children like that out in public. Think about it. You are enduring this verbal abuse from the person that birthed you. And it can like really create like these deep rooted feelings of resentment and anger within you. And the thing about it is when we're hearing that stuff as children, it definitely persists on, in our adult lives. And we carry that stuff on into our adulthood. Some people have other family members. They may have been raped, may have been molested, and their family members knew and did absolutely nothing about it, And so now you're not only angry at the person that did it, but you're angry at the people who knew about it and did not protect you, did not come to your rescue, And you carry these feelings of anger and pure, hurt and just hatred around in your heart. And then on top of that, there are the love relationships that we get into. And after we were let down as children by all these adults, by all these broken adults, after we're let down as children or, abused, mistreated, we carry all this stuff, and then when we come of age, we go into a relationship expecting it to work. You know, we expect to have a relationship, a successful relationship, without ever addressing any of the crap that happened prior to. And we take that baggage into a relationship, and oftentimes as women we'll attract a man who's just as broken and just as lost as we are. And we will expect that man to be our savior, expect him to treat us right, wine and dine us, sweep us off our feet, all this stuff. Expect him to be this knight in shining armor. And I'm going to be real. A lot of us put more trust in these men that we meet. We put more trust and love and hope into our relationships with these men than we do into God, and then we do into Jesus. And then we wonder why they fail. And it's because we're idolizing somebody that's broken too. They're trying to find their way just like we are. We're trying to figure it out too. You understand? So we have our family members, we have our relationships, and we just give and give and give. Or we love and love and love. Or we are there. We inconvenience ourselves. We do for them things that we can't do for ourselves. And we, you know, even with our relationships, we have these relationships where we are bending over backwards to show this man that we love him, giving him all of us, you know, being whatever he needs us to be. There to rescue him, there to help him, there to clean, cook, all this stuff, cater. And we get none of what is reciprocated. And matter of fact, they might turn around and make you feel like you aren't even doing enough. You understand? And so then they start doing the crazy stuff, like not answering the phone, not calling you, ignoring your texts, you know, or just start cheating. And it's like, well, dang, you know, you start questioning yourself. Like, I know that I've been that person before. Some of y'all might not want to admit it, but I've been that person before where I've given the best of myself, given till I couldn't give anymore, and done everything that I could to be a good person, a good girlfriend or whatnot, and still be made to feel like I'm inadequate, still be made to feel like I'm not crap, still be made to feel like my efforts are in vain. I'm not enough. There's somebody out there that, you know, has more or is offering more than me, you know. And you start questioning yourself, like, wasn't I good to you? Aren't I good enough? Like, and at first you might even be in denial about what's going on, and we might still think that we can love them through whatever they are going through. But then it gets to a point, you know, like where your mind is drained, where your spirit is drained, where your energy is drained, and you're left there and you're angry and mad and, you know, just in your emotions. Like, I'm gonna give y'all, you know, like, be real with y'all about something. A lot of you guys know, if you've been following me, that I was married before, you know, my current marriage. And it was probably about a year after I got divorced, because I could never figure out what went wrong. You know, like, what happened. It was like we got married and then stuff just went downhill. You know, like, it just burned and crashed right after we said I do. Stuff went crazy. And I couldn't ever figure out, like, what was the trigger. And so one day, my ex, he came to me. It was like we had been divorced for maybe about a year at this time. And he said, you know, I got a confession. And I said, what? And he said, you know, about a week after we got married, my ex-wife is his son, but my son's mother came to me and she said, you know, I want you back. And I told her I would do whatever I had to do. And so then he just got quiet. And I was like, I put two and two together. And so I was like, you mean to tell me all that stuff you did was intentional? Like, it was like literally a plan to try to push me away because you didn't want to just say you didn't want to be with me. So you figured you do all this crazy stuff to try to push me away, you know? And I was like, dang, like, you are low down. And it took a year, but anger, pure anger, just straight came all over me. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't think I had ever been that angry, because I was so angry, like, for somebody to just intentionally do me wrong when I had pure intentions, pure motives. All I wanted to do was the right thing. And because of their own selfish intentions, and because they weren't, didn't have the courage enough to speak their truth and just say what they wanted, they mistreated me for an entire year to try to push me away and planned it with somebody else. You talking about angry? Like, you messed my life up. You screwed my life up. You took an entire year or two away from me dealing with some foolishness. You talking about mad. I don't know if y'all ever felt like that. Just, I can't stand you. I don't want to be around you type. I can't stand the sight of you, like borderline hatred, anger. That's where I was. You understand? And it's just like, when you get there, how do you handle it? How do you handle that type of anger? Some of y'all might be there now where you just feel totally misused, abused, mistreated from somebody that you thought had your best interest in heart. It could be a family member. It could be a friend. It could be someone like a love interest. But what do you do when you have that type of anger where you just like, dang, I didn't do anything but try to be good and do right by you, and you just totally screwed me over, like intentionally. It's like, do you go slash his tires and bust his windows? Do you steal his credit cards and rack them up? Like, some women, that's when some women use kids. Do you use his kids to get back at him because you hate him and you're angry, so you want to hurt him too, and you refuse to let him see them? Like, how do you handle the anger? Like, do you curse him out to say the most hurtful things to him and then regret it, later? Like, honestly, how do you handle that type of anger, that type of, disappointment? How do you handle that? Like, what do you do? And I think that we all have been hurt. And like I said, some of us may be in that total enraged place now. But I think like the first thing to do is to kind of like step back, and it's easier said than done, but this comes with practice, like making the intentional decision to do better. Like, you know what? I'm not going to waste my energy cursing you out. I'm not going to go there with you. It takes practice and an intentional, right, Jovan, you say you make a stand. It takes an intentional mindset to say, you know what? I'm not going to lash out in anger. I think that the first thing you have to do is that you have to realize that sometimes you have to leave the broken glass where it's at. Like, what I mean by that? It's like, you got to realize you can't put broken glass back together, because if you try to put it back together, it's going to cut you. Hey, Zach, you can't put broken glass back together. You got to understand, some people don't want to be put together. Some people don't want to be helped. You understand? Like, some people don't even think that they need help. They don't think that anything is wrong with them, And so here we come trying to be Captain Save a Man because we see his potential and think that, he's a good person. We see something in him that he doesn't see in himself or whatnot, and think we can bring that out of him. I'm going to tell you something, girl. You better run. Run fast. You understand what I'm saying? Because, like I said, you can't put broken glass back together. Sometimes you just have to leave it where it's at, or you're going to hurt yourself. You're going to cut yourself. You have to save yourself. You got to put you together, because you got to figure out what's going on in you that attracted him to you anyway. Something in you, in your spirit or in your psyche, that has attracted him to you, and it's a lesson there that you have to learn so that you don't keep repeating it. It's like, it's hard and it's easier said than done, but somebody that's toxic will only make you toxic too. Like, I think that we have to realize the man that's for you is going to treat you right the first time. He is not going to take you through all this drama. He's not going to break your heart. He's not going to take you through hoops and loops and all this kind of stuff, and then come back and realize what he had. The man that God has for you is going to do right by you the first time. He's going to realize what he's got when he first gets it, because it doesn't take all day to recognize sunshine. And baby, you are sunshine. You brighten up the room, and you got to know that every morning you step up out of bed, every morning your feet touch the ground. You understand? You are sunshine, and you got to live, act, walk, and talk like it, and treat yourself like it, and demand that others treat you like that as well. Now let's go back and address the anger. It's like, this is where we have to start doing the work within. Like, what are you really, really angry at? Like, what you really angry at? Like, we have to identify the source of the anger. Like, are you angry at yourself for ignoring the red flags? Are you angry because you believed in him and you feel like he let you down just like every other man in your life? Just like your dad, just like your uncles, just like your exes, and you thought he was going to be different? Like, what are you really angry at? You know, are you angry because you were hoping for something and that hope was destroyed? Like, what are you really angry about? I think a lot of times we have to identify the source and the root cause of the anger. Yeah, we're going to be angry at the person because they lied, yeah, you know, and manipulated us. But oftentimes it's a little bit deeper. Because I know, like, at least for me, I was angry that I had even allowed myself to go through any of that, like with my ex. I was angry at myself because I saw the red flags. I had so many red flags. God tried to send me so many signs and I ignored all of them. And at the end of the day, I could only take a look at myself and say, like, why did I do this? Because I didn't have to go through all of this. Because God tried to show me his character in the beginning, but I just chose to ignore it. And this is where self-reflection comes in. Like, yes, it's hard. Yes, it's just like easy to blow your top, cut somebody out and let them know everything that's on your mind. Tell them where they can go and what they can do with it. That's the easy thing to do. You understand? Like, you know, doing that because you're hurt. But after it's said and done and you said all this stuff, like, honestly, has anything really changed? Like, do you feel any better? Do you feel redeemed? Like, chances are, like, after your outburst, you feel worse and even angrier because now you've expressed your anger and he's going a step further and showing you that he doesn't even care. A lot of times he'll just turn his back and walk out or ignore you. And so then here's the rejection and the abandonment all over again. And so you're angry. My mom used to tell me that the time that we want to say something the most is the time that we should be quiet. And the time that we don't want to pray, that's the time when we need to pray the most. I know when I was going through my go-through, I didn't want to pray. I didn't want to talk to them. I didn't want to. But I'm going to tell you, when I tell you that is the only thing that got me through. And sometimes when we're going through the go-through and it feels like the walls are caving in on us, you know, and it feels like there's no way out and we're trapped and we are overcome with all these emotions, the best thing for you to do, even though you feel like God is not there with you in that situation, even though you feel like he's not hearing you, he is, you know. And it's the hardest thing to do during that time. But pray. Put it all out there. Put it out there. Start release. You got to release that anger somehow. You can let it out verbally. You can let it out, you know, through prayer. You can let it out verbally. You can cut somebody out or you can go pray about it. You know, which is going to yield the best solution? You know, which is going to help you the most? Because after you cut somebody out, the issue is still going to be there. 9 times out of 10, you're just going to feel even worse. But if you pray about it, a lot of times you have the opportunity to get your heart out, your feelings out. You can release it and cry in a safe space and not make a fool of yourself. You understand? Like, let's be clear. And sometimes God will speak to us during those times. He'll send us what we need when we need it if we ask. Another thing, you know, that helps during these times is to just cut that person off. Like, straight cut them off. Like, it took me a long time to master this. But when I started to realize that I don't need to be around anybody who doesn't value me, who doesn't appreciate me, who takes me for granted, who is, you know, negligent and things like that, the best thing to do is cut them off. Erase those text messages, delete them off of your social media. Stop trying to snoop behind them and be concerned about what they're doing and who they're doing it with. Get absorbed in you. Have nothing to do with them because they're going to come back around snooping around. You know, you have to have the strength in yourself to stay out of that because it can be very easy to get sucked back into something that's familiar, especially when they start making you feel loved and appreciated and you start thinking about all the good times and those couple of thoughts outweigh all the bull crap because you're lonely and you're hurting. No, let them go. Cut them off. And it's easier said than done, but this is where you are building strength. Like, instead of, you know, while we're having this anger, it can be very easy to stay there in that space holding on to those emotions. But what happens if you hold on to them? Like, is it going to help you? You know, 9 times out of 10, if you just stay angry, you're going to turn into a bitter person. You know, nobody's going to want to be around you. And if you don't transform that energy some way, it can manifest itself as illness, sickness, and disease. You know, so we have to find a way to transform that pain into purpose. So instead of focusing on how hurt you are, how angry you are, transform it into love. Focus on loving actions toward yourself, toward others. Volunteer and give back to people that's, you know, less fortunate and who may need your help. Don't let it just sit there and fester, because it can make you bitter, and it can, like I said, even transform into illness. I think that, like, anger is a natural emotion, and we all deal with it and go through it, but it's important to learn how to control it instead of allowing it to control you. And last, I think it's very good, and at least it was helpful for me when I was going through my go-through, is to focus on some scriptures like Ephesians 4:26. In your anger, do not sin, and do not give the devil a foothold. I love Proverbs. Proverbs 29:11 states, fools give full vent to their rage, but the wise bring calm in the end. You know, meditate on that. Fools give full vent to their rage. Do you want God to look on you as a fool? Like you just giving full vent to your rage? You just cussing, you throwing stuff, you breaking dishes, you know, turning up like these folks on the reality shows? Or do you want to develop the character of a wise woman? It takes time, it takes practice, and it's hard, because the easy thing to do is to give in to the flesh. You know, and I think that the scripture that resonated with me the most was James chapter 4, verses 1 and 2. It states, what causes fights and quarrels among you? Don't they come from your desires that battle within you? Like, I thought that was deep. Like, what causes fights and quarrels? Your fights and quarrels come from desires that battle on the inside of you. You want something and can't have it. You desire, but do not have, so you kill. You covet, but cannot get what you want, so you quarrel and fight. You do not have because you do not ask God. You know, and I know that it's easier said than done, but I know a lot of times it's anger. It comes from something that we want that we can't get. We want this person to love us. We want this person to reciprocate everything that we have given, and they're not. They've just taken, and pretty much saying, bump you. And that makes you angry because you want them to show you the same love, attention, appreciation, and affection that you show them. And when we don't get it, it's disappointing. And this is where we have to, you know, recognize even that in itself is a sign, because God is showing you, this is not the person I have for you. I have something so much greater for you, and it's hurting you right now, but you trust in me and you move on, you know, and you live the way I'm telling you to live. You go the way I'm trying to guide you to go, and I'm going to take care of you. But this right here ain't it, and you need to leave it. And I'm showing you this right now. And sometimes, you know, we can look at it and think about it in a negative way, like, man, that happened. Or we can be positive about it. You know what? I'm glad I saw his character before I got in any deeper with him. I'm glad I saw his character before I had any kids about him. I'm glad I saw what he was truly about before I married him. Whoop, let me go on about my business. I'm glad I ain't got to worry about that no more. It's all in how you look at it. Flip that thing around and see the blessing and the lesson in the situation. But that's it for tonight. I'm going to come through and watch the comments. Feel free to share this out to your followers. And I thank you guys for tuning in to Candid Conversations. I'm live streaming every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My name is Jasmine Womack. You can follow me on Instagram and Periscope at Author Jasmine Womack, and also on Facebook at Author Jasmine Womack. You can check out my book on my website, 20pearlsofwisdom.com. Let me know what you thought. Shoot me a DM or leave some comments and I'll respond to them. And I thank y'all for tuning in. Good night.